What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello and welcome. Today we are kicking off my 2024 collection and declutter series. Now this is something I like to do twice a year just to kind of stay on top of my collection and really keep it in check. So at about the halfway point through the year, I like to do a quick one-over of my entire collection and just pull out things that are old, expired, or I'm not reaching for and just move them out of my collection. But then at the end of the year, that's when I like to do a really thorough collection and declutter. I like to go through each category and product individually, do some swatches, and give you reviews. Now, I recognize I do have a very large collection. I'm okay with that. To each their own. This is a judgment-free zone, but I don't want to have a large collection for the sake of having a large collection. I want to have a collection full of things that I love and enjoy and are going to be relevant on my channel. So with that being said, this is not going to be a massive declutter video. We're not going to be getting rid of half of my products, becoming a makeup minimalist or anything like that. We are just going to go through and move things out that I no longer see fit or need in my collection. Now this is going to be a 6-part series, and we're going to kick it off today with complexion. So we're going to be doing primers, foundations, concealers, powders, and setting sprays, and then we'll move forward from there. Now I do want to mention that all of the products that I am decluttering are either going to go in the trash if they're old, disgusting, and expired, and then everything else my friends and family will get first dibs on. Whatever is left over at the end will go up for sale on my Mercari if it is lightly used and I can sanitize it. Otherwise, it will just go bye-bye. So with that being said, please, please, please do not ask for any of my used makeup down that comment section. It's just weird, it's uncomfortable, and your comment will be ignored. But let's go ahead and jump into this. So we're going to switch to an overhead view, and we're going to start with primers. Alright, so this is all of the primers and luminizers that I have in my collection. This is way too many for one person to have. I don't love every single one of them, and I don't need every single one of them. But I think we're going to go ahead and start with luminizers first, and then we'll move into primers. So I'm going to go ahead and start pulling out every single one that I have. Alright, so I believe this is all of my glowy luminizer mix-in primer products that I have in my collection. I absolutely love this kind of product. It's one of my favorite things to wear under a foundation. I like to mix it in with a more mattifying foundation, and sometimes I will kind of double them as a highlighter as well, but I don't need all of these, and I don't love all of these, and they're not all relevant to my channel. So let's go ahead and go through these, and I'm going to go ahead and start with the ones that I absolutely love, and then we'll kind of move from there. So the first one that I have is going to be the Aura Glow Lust. This is my absolute favorite one. If I had to get rid of every single one and only keep this one, I would be okay with that. I have the shade Morganite, and this is just such a beautiful product. It is a little bit on the thicker side, but it doesn't feel heavy on the skin. It doesn't feel thick or greasy. It just kind of melts in and leaves the most beautiful glow behind. This is beautiful on its own if you want to do like a makeup, no makeup day. You can also mix it into your foundation as well. This is truly a very versatile product and one that I absolutely love and want to get more use out of it, but I need to get rid of these other ones if I'm going to do that. So that one is going to be a keep. Another one that I know is going to be a keep is going to be not sitting here. It's still over here. I forgot to pull it out. Is the Catrice Soft Glam Filter Fluid Glow Booster. I have the shade 002 Fair, and I love this. You can see I've gotten a lot of use out of this one. This one is supposed to be a dupe for like the Charlotte Tilbury and the e.l.f., and it is a cool undertone. It is very thin on the skin, and it just looks so beautiful. So if you find the one from Aura to be a little too thick and you want something a little more on the thin side, this is going to be a beautiful option. Also, if you like the Charlotte Tilbury and the e.l.f. and all of those, but they're just too warm tone for you, this one is beautiful. I absolutely love this one. It is a favorite product of the year for me. let's move on to a couple that I know I can get rid of for sure. And the first one is going to be this one from Essence. I was hoping this would be another more affordable alternative to the Glow Boosters, but this one, it just smells like a dirty diaper. It is disgusting. I cannot stand the smell of it. I can't get past it. It hangs around. It does not go away. It looks beautiful on the skin and it fits beautiful on the skin, but I will absolutely never reach for this because of that reason. So we are going to declutter this one. So we have our first declutter and that feels so good. Another one that I can declutter I think is going to be this Do La La from Benefit. I bought this one because again it had the same claim. I was curious. I think I'm good with Glow Boosters at this point, but this one's just a little too thin. It doesn't really mix into foundation very well. It kind of changes the consistency and the glow just isn't quite as pretty as these over here. It's very subtle. So this may be what you're looking for, but for me personally, it's just not the product for me. It doesn't fit in with my makeup preferences and it's not really relevant on my channel. So I'm going to go ahead and pass that one on as well. And I'm also going to pass on this one from Juvia's Place. Now, this one I liked more as a foundation than I did an actual glow booster because it does have some good coverage to it, but the color is all wrong for me. It is so extremely warm and I have a hard time pulling it off. I wish they had something a little bit more cool undertoned and it just doesn't look good on me. No matter how much I like the product, it's just not going to work for my skin. So I'm going to go ahead and pass that one on as well. Now this one from Westman Atelier I'm going to keep. It's very new. I haven't even reviewed it on my channel yet because I'm still testing it out. And this is in the shade Peau de Rose, yes, and this is beautiful. It is very liquidy. You need to make sure that you shake it up. So this one works best mixed in with like a really mattifying foundation or even under foundation if you want something just a little bit thinner, but it can be a little bit on the, I don't want to say greasy side, but if you have really oily skin, this is probably not going to work for you. But like I said, I'm still testing it out, so we're going to keep that one for now. I'm also going to keep my MAC Strobe Cream. I have loved this product for the longest time. It is so beautiful, and I just like the way that it sits on my skin. It makes a really good highlighter as well. But this one is going to be probably the most translucent one out of all of them that I have. That one and this one from L'Oreal, which I will be keeping as well. And it just has this really pretty kind of pink cast to it, but it's flattering on my cool tone skin. So I'm going to keep that one as well. And like I said, I'm also going to keep the L'Oreal Lumi Glotion. This is the old packaging. I want to make sure that this is still good. Yes, it still smells good. It still looks good. This one has that same kind of pink tone. These are all kind of running together, huh? It has the same kind of pink tone as the MAC one, but this is just a little bit thicker. And honestly, this looks beautiful on its own as well. You can do a little bit of concealer, a little bit of powder, and call it a day. This is a beautiful one, and I love it. Okay, so now we're down to these, and I have this one from Milk Makeup. This is their new Hydro Grip and Glow Primer, and this is basically a hybrid of their Hydro Grip Primer, which is a holy grail for me, and a little bit of glow in it. Now this is a beautiful product. It only works under your foundation as a primer. I cannot wear this on its own because it is too dark for me, and this is beautiful. I do really enjoy this. I put way too much on the back of my hand, but it's a little dark, so it's one that I'm going to reach for more in the summertime, and it's one that I probably would not repurchase. I do really love it. I just wish it came in more shades because it doesn't work for every skin tone across the board, but for now we are going to keep it. All right, we're down to these four, and these are the ones I kind of feel indifferent about. We have the what's it called? The Dewy Glow. The Glowy Super Gel. I have the shade Star Glow. This was like a sample. I'm going to hang on to this. It is really nice, but there's not anything about it that stands out in comparison to these other ones I have sitting here. It doesn't make me want to buy the full size or anything like that, but I'll definitely use it, and this is a good little travel size for me to have, especially with some upcoming travel plans that we have. So now we're down to these three, and This one from Ritual Defy, I wanted to love so bad, and it looks beautiful on the skin under foundation or on its own, but when you try to mix it in with a foundation, it just kind of messes with the consistency and the formula of your foundation. And when I try to use it as a highlighter, it lifts the product that is underneath it. So I do really like it, and I will use it because it was not cheap, but I would not recommend this, and I absolutely would not repurchase it because it's just too expensive for a product that only does one thing. But I do want to get use out of it because it is beautiful. It has this really pretty kind of purple glow to it. Let's go right here. I'm very quickly running out of room. But you see how beautiful that iridescence is? I don't even know if the camera is going to pick that up. And it smells really good too. It kind of smells a little bit on the fruity side, but it just doesn't work over foundation, and it doesn't work mixed in with foundation. All right, now we're down to these two, and these are like, I feel like the ones that kind of started it all. If I'm being truthful, this is the one that started it all, even though these two have been around forever and ever. Like, I remember these when I was a kid, but I feel like the Charlotte Tilbury one is the one that really kind of put everything on the map and really kind of got the things going with the whole glowy base. And this is really nice, and when I first bought it, I absolutely loved it. But now that I have these other ones, I just don't love it as much. It's very thick. The glow isn't nearly as pretty as what I want. The shade is way wrong on me. This one is fair too, and the lighter one I think was even worse, or maybe they didn't have it. I don't know. But it just doesn't work for me. But I want to hang on to this because I feel like so many people are trying to dupe this, and it's still a very popular product, and you're always comparing the new ones to this one. So I want to keep this one more for relevancy in my collection than anything else. I don't know if I will ever get through this. I don't know if I'll use much more of it at all, but I want to keep it for comparison purposes, basically. Now, as far as the e.l.f. one goes, this one can go. It's pretty much the exact same thing as the Charlotte Tilbury, but again, the shade just is not right for me. Like, look at how deep and how orange that is. And I bought this one after they did their shade expansion. I had the shade, is the shade on here somewhere? Shade 0.5 Fair. Y'all, in what world is that for fair skin tone? It's not, but it's a lot thicker than the one from Charlotte Tilbury. I don't enjoy it. I never reach for it. I'm not going to reach for it. So I am going to declutter this one and pass it on to somebody that is darker than me and will really enjoy that one. All right, y'all, so here are the luminizers up at the top that I'm getting rid of, and here are the ones that I'm keeping. I started with 13, I'm keeping 9, and I'm decluttering 4. I feel good about that. It's still a lot to keep, but like I said, I'm not trying to get rid of things just to get rid of things. But let me go ahead and put these away, and we're gonna pull out the rest of my primers. All right, so here are the rest of my primers, and you can't even see them all. This is a ridiculous amount. Nobody needs this many. So let's go ahead and start kind of running through these. I'm going to start with the ones that I absolutely love and are going nowhere. And the first one is going to be the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip. Now, this is a mini. I bought this one because I wanted to compare it to the other one, but I was trying to get through some of my other primers before I repurchased this, but I miss it. I'm glad I have it back. I just love the consistency of this, the grip that it gives to my makeup. It's nice and hydrating. It's not heavy. It works really well for my normal dry leaning skin. So that is something to keep in mind as I go through these. I don't have combination or oily skin, so generally I like something to be a little bit more hydrating, and I like something that's going to be blurring, perfecting, or even gripping on the skin. So I am going to keep that one. Another one that I'm going to keep is this one from One Size. This is the Secure the Sweat Primer, and this is one that I absolutely love in the summertime here in Texas. It gets very hot, very humid, and this combined with the setting spray just locks my makeup in place all day. I don't have to worry about it. So this one I absolutely love and adore as well. Another one that I love, and this is a little bit of an oddball, is the Gucci Mattifying Primer. Now this one is mattifying, but it's not like a drying mattifying. So if you have super oily skin, I don't think this is really going to keep your oils at bay, but it looks beautiful under a more hydrated hydrating foundation for me, and I just really like the way that it sits on my skin. And sometimes I do want a little bit more of a mattified look to my makeup, so we're gonna keep that one as well. Let's see here. One that I can get rid of is this one right here from Glow Recipe. In fact, this is almost done. I wore this so much. I think it was last year when this came out, or maybe the year before, but my skin was a little bit more on the combination side at that point. My skin has been going through some major changes over the past couple of years. I used to have more combination oily leaning skin, and the older I get, the drier it gets. So that's why I have so many primers. I've been trying really hard to find the ones that work for me, and this one used to, but I used it a couple of times this past summer and it was just too much for my skin. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one, not because it's not a good primer, it just doesn't work for my skin specifically. Another one that I think I can get rid of as well for kind of the same reason is this one from Sephora. This is the Matte and Refine Primer. This is a beautiful mattifying primer if you're more on that combination side and you don't need anything too thick and heavy for the skin. This is beautiful, it's affordable, but unfortunately it just doesn't work for my skin anymore. One that I absolutely love and I'm going to keep is the Huda Beauty Easy Blur Primer. This is just such a beautiful kind of silicone based primer without being silicone. It's just very perfecting and very blurring on the skin. It's definitely a little cooling and hydrating, but I don't think it's too heavy for more oily skin. So I think this would be good for all skin types, but I absolutely love this. I have been using this pretty much non-stop lately. If you've been checking my description boxes, you've seen this one down there a lot. Another one I'm going to keep is my YSL Touche Eclat Blurring Primer. This is beautiful. Now this one does have some silicone and dimethicone in it, but it doesn't irritate my skin. I don't mind it. I just think it looks beautiful and my foundations lay over top. This is a cult classic. This is probably the second one that I've ever had, and I just love it for that very reason. I am also going to keep this one from Essence. This is the Hello Good Stuff Glow Serum Primer. And if you like the Glow Recipe Niacinamide Dewdrops, this is a really good alternative for that one. I've since used those up and I've used a lot of this one as well. This is another one that you see a lot in my description box. So I am going to keep that one. Now let's look at what we have left. I'm going to keep this one from Merit. I'm still testing this one out. It's brand new. I've only used it a handful of times, but so far this is a really good alternative to the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. I've loved that one for several years, but this one is like a fraction of the price. So we're going to keep that one. We're going to keep this one from e.l.f. This is the Jelly Pop Dew Primer, and personally, I like this more than this one. I think I am going to get rid of this one. This just doesn't give me the same vibe that I like from the Milk Hydro Grip. I feel like this one is a little thicker and it's a little heavier and stickier on my skin. So I'm gonna get rid of this one, but this one I absolutely love. This is one that you can see I have used the crud out of, and if it's still available when I use it up, I will 100% repurchase it, but we're gonna keep this one and we're gonna get rid of the e.l.f. Power Grip. All right, so we are condensing down. We are getting there. Let's go over this one that I want to keep. So this is the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Primer. I have these two little travel ones that I got from the brand. I keep thinking one day I'm going to purchase a full size, but they keep giving me samples every time I get one. So I haven't needed to, but I have this one and then I have an unopened one. I'm keeping both of these because I absolutely love them. They are so, so good. Okay, let's see, I don't know where to go from here. I think I can get rid of this one from Danessa Myricks. It's another one that I used a lot when I had a more combination skin, and this is beautiful. I do like the way that it sits on my skin, but mine's a little bit on the older side. You know what though? That just, it looks and feels beautiful. No, we're gonna keep this one. We are going to keep it. I just love it so much. This works for all skin types, I feel like, and this one works really well in the summertime. So I am going to keep this one. I said I wasn't, but I'm going to. But with that being said, do I need this one from e.l.f.? This is really nice. This is the Luminous Putty Primer, and I do think this is really pretty on the skin. I just don't know. Do I need that? Like, a part of me really wants it, but I'm like, do I need it? But then I also have the Liquid Poreless Putty Primer. So let's do a comparison really quick, because I have not used this one in so long. I can't even think of what it feels like on my skin. I know I don't need both of these. So which one do I want to keep? This one feels kind of thick. Maybe I should keep both and just see which one I get more use out of throughout the year. And then maybe in my mid-year declutter, we'll get rid of one of these. I don't want to impulsively get rid of stuff just to get rid of stuff. Like I said, I want to get rid of stuff that I'm genuinely not reaching for. So we're going to go ahead and keep these for now, but they may go during my mid-year declutter. All right, so another one that I can get rid of is this one from NYX. This is the face glue. This is a gripping primer, and this one, I forget that that's not how the cap comes off. It just doesn't do anything for me. I mean, the packaging is adorable. I loved it. It looks like a little glue bottle. I don't like this. It's too thin, but it's sticky, and it just doesn't work for my skin. So I'm going to get rid of this one. I never reach for it. I'm not going to reach for it, and it's just not relevant. Another one I'm going to get rid of is this one from Catrice. This is the Perfector Poreless Blur Primer. This is a beautiful, affordable primer. Like, do not get me wrong, but I don't need all of these blurring primers in my collection. But you know what? I think I like this one more than I like the e.l.f. Hold on, let's see what the e.l.f. looks like next to this one, because I think I like that one more. Yeah, I like this one more than I like the e.l.f. So we're gonna get rid of the e.l.f. and we're gonna keep the Catrice. Okay, I didn't see that coming, but I love it when things like that happen. Okay, let's move forward. So I know I can get rid of this one from Flower. This is the Skin Smoothie Hydro Pop Primer, and this is fine. I don't know why I'm swatching all these out. This is very hydrating, but it doesn't really do anything as far as longevity goes through my skin, and it's not a favorite. I don't reach for it. I'm probably not going to use it, so I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to get rid of this one too from Essence. I was trying really hard to use it up, but it just doesn't have the same gripping power that the one from Milk has, and it has kind of like a weird smell to it, almost like a chemically aloe vera smell to it. So it is a really good affordable alternative. The smell does go away, but I'm not going to reach for this one over my one from Milk or e.l.f. So I'm going to go ahead and move that one on and give it to somebody else as well. All right, so this is what we are down to, and I'm going to keep this one from Huda Beauty. This is the Water Jelly Primer, and this is really, really nice. It's very hydrating. It kind of extends the life of my makeup a little bit, not as much as I would want it to, but I love what it does for my skin when it's feeling very dry and parched, or if you have a sunburn on your face. This just feels so, so good. I'm almost out of it. There's not much left. Like, if I were to hold it up, it's probably down to about here. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this one off. I don't know if this is still around, if it will still be around. I know Huda Beauty is like kind of rebranding and kind of moving things out and bringing things in. So I don't know if it will still be around. It is one that I would repurchase though, but I'm going to go ahead and hang on to that one. I think I'm going to get rid of this one from NYX. This one is very similar to this one from Huda Beauty, and personally, I don't need both. I'm going to reach for the Huda over the NYX, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the Plump Right Back primer. And then we're down to these. Now, I do want to keep this one. I know that from What's Up Beauty. This is the Positivity Lightweight Hydrating Face Primer. This is a beautiful, beautiful product. I got this one, I think, in a BoxyCharm, and I got it like right around when it came out, and it is so, so stunning. I love that one. So we're going to keep that. I think I'm going to get rid of this one from Milk. I've tried really hard to use it and it just doesn't do anything. It's like a really cool foam, but it doesn't, okay, quit rolling around. You're driving me nuts. But it doesn't do anything for my makeup. It just adds hydration to the skin. It doesn't add like glow or tackiness or longevity or anything. And I don't know. Maybe I should put this one in the maybe, or maybe I should just try to use it up and get through it. I don't know. I want to set that one aside for the maybe right now because I feel like I need to get rid of it, but it's hard when you spend your money on things and you don't want to waste your money. But okay, we are down to this, and I think I'm going to get rid of this. This was a hefty price tag, and I bought it because I was suckered into their gaslighting that they had with their little advertisement, and it's supposed to like be blurring and get rid of like your lines and kind of blur everything. And honestly, this is just so thick and heavy on the skin. I don't reach for it that often. It's still good at this point, so I'm gonna pass this on to somebody else. Maybe my mom would like this. I've pulled it so many times with the intention of using it, and every time I open up my drawer, I look at it and I reach for something else. So there's no point in hanging on to it. I'm going to get rid of that. I have two correctors sitting here. Okay. We're getting rid of this, but we're keeping it there for now. I do have two correctors in my collection, and these are the only two color correctors that I have, and I really enjoy both of them, so I'm going to keep both of them. This one doesn't have quite as much correcting power as the one from Herborian does. This one is more heavy duty. I like this one if I have a lot more redness going on, especially in the summer, but this one is great if I just want to kind of get rid of a little bit of that redness and just kind of wear my skin naturally. That didn't make any sense, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep both of these. But let me show you what they look like. So this one is really cool because it comes out green like that, and then whenever you work it into the skin, it pretty much disappears to like a skin color. Now this one I can't wear on its own because it is very dark and it kind of has a cast, but it works really well under like a very light skin tint, so that's why I like this one. I don't think this is one I would ever repurchase though. Honestly, I don't use a lot of correctors, but they are good to have just in case. And then the Stila One Step Correct. I have been using this for years. I think this is my second or third one. It is such an underrated product. It is just so lightweight and hydrating on the skin. It looks beautiful. It has a little bit of a glow to it, and it truly just corrects without giving a base like the one from Herborian does. So we're gonna keep that one. All right, another one I know I can keep is the One Size Secure the Glow Primer. This one came out towards the beginning of this year. This is beautiful. This is nice and glowy. It's hydrating. It has a little bit of a tack to it, not as much as the one from Milk, but I really, really do enjoy this one. I've used a lot of it and I really want to keep using it. I'm going to get rid of this one from Wet n Wild. This is another one of those primer pore reducing things, and this is really nice. It comes in a stick. It goes on really nicely, but again, I just don't need this many pore blurring products, and I feel like this one is aimed more towards oily skin, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass that one on as well. And then we're down to these three, and I think I'm going to go ahead and keep all three of these. So this is the Laura Mercier Pure Canvas Primer. This is for hydration, and that's exactly what it does. It doesn't really extend the longevity of your makeup, but it does feel really good if you've got really dry skin. It's not one that I would repurchase, but I will completely use that one up. And then we have the NARS Light Reflecting Primer. This is beautiful. This is hydrating. It extends the longevity of your makeup. It is so lightweight, and well, that was kind of gross the way that that came out. but it just looks and feels really good on the skin. I don't know if it's one that I would repurchase either. It's not a holy grail, but I do enjoy it enough to keep it. Obviously, I need to use it more because that was a nasty little thing that was kind of stuck in the pump, but very, very nice. I do enjoy it and I will use it up. And then the last one that I have is going to be this one right here. This is from Yensa. This is the Tone Up Primer. I have never ever used this. It's still got the seal on it, so I want to keep it for that reason. So we're going to hang on to that one. And then we have this little lone one right here, and I'm looking at everything that I'm keeping, and I'm looking at this, and I'm going to get rid of this. I just don't need it. I don't really enjoy it. I feel like I'm forcing myself to use it whenever I do, and I just don't feel like it's very relevant to my channel either. So I'm going to get rid of this one as well. So let me go ahead and go over all of the numbers of what I started with, what I'm keeping, and what I'm getting rid of. Alright, so these are all the primers that I am getting rid of. I will show you the ones that I'm keeping in just a minute, but I started out with 31 primers. I am decluttering 12 and I am keeping 19, and I feel really good about that. That's almost cutting my primers in half, and it just feels so good to move these out of my collection and get rid of things I'm not using and give these to somebody who these will work better for their skin. Alright, so these are all of the primers and luminizers that I am keeping, and this is so much better. Yes, this is still a lot, but this is much more manageable. This is things I love, I enjoy, and have a space here on my channel. But I'm going to go ahead and put this away, and we're going to jump into foundations. Alright, y'all, foundations. Now we really need to go through this. I have 53 foundations in my collection, and that is an absorbent amount of foundations. But if I'm being honest, I love foundation. It's one of my favorite products to try and test out. I'm always looking for the next best one, the best shade match, the best one for my skin. But we definitely need to go through this and get rid of some. This isn't even all of my foundation, so we're going to start with these, and as we kind of dwindle these down, we'll pull in some others. So let's go ahead and start with ones that I know for a fact I am going to keep. And the first one that we have is this one from Chanel. This is the Le Beige Water Fresh Tint. I absolutely love and adore the skin tint. It is so incredibly beautiful on the skin. It is very hydrating. It is very light coverage. This is probably the lightest coverage that I have in my collection, and I love this one. I have the shade Light Medium. It is a little too deep for me, but I can pull it off. But I think whenever I repurchase this one, I'll go for the light shade, but it is just like a cool drink of water to the skin, and I love it. I'll 100% repurchase this one over and over. But while we're talking about this one, let's go into this one from CoverGirl. So this is the Simply Ageless Skin Perfector Essence, and this one came out earlier this year as a dupe for the Chanel, and I'll tell you, it is very close. It is very, very close. If you're wanting the same vibe as the one from the Chanel, but you don't want to spend the high price tag, this is a really good alternative. But my issue with this one is it's a little heavier on the skin, and it doesn't blend out as easily as the one from Chanel. You have to work just a little bit harder to kind of break those what's the word that I'm looking for? Those color capsules open and even it out on the skin, and it's not quite as hydrating as the one from Chanel. So if you have a little bit more like combination skin, you might like the one from CoverGirl better. And like I said, it's beautiful, it's not bad, but if I'm being honest, I'm gonna reach for the Chanel over the CoverGirl every single time. And when I run out of this one, instead of moving on to the CoverGirl, I will 100% just repurchase the Chanel and move on with my life. So I am going to declutter this and give this to somebody else who will absolutely love it and get all of the use out of it. So let's go ahead and keep moving on. So another one that I know that I am going to keep is going to be this one right here from Myricks. This is the Yummy Skin Serum Skin Tint, and I love this. It is beautiful on the skin. It is very lightweight. You can definitely kind of sheer this out to a lighter coverage, but for me it gives a solid medium, and it just lasts all day, and it looks beautiful on my skin, and I really, really enjoy that one. So that one is going to stay. Let's go to this one right here from L'Oreal. So I have two of the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear foundation. So one of them says 24 hour, one of them says 32. This is the original one that I have loved for years and years and years. And then earlier this year, they sort of reformulated and gave it a 32-hour wear. I did a side-by-side wear test. They are the exact same formula. I did not find anything to be different, but I'm going to declutter this one because it's older. It's probably expired at this point, and this one is still new. And if I'm being honest, this one is a much better shade match than this one right here. So we're gonna get rid of the old one and we're gonna keep this one right here. Let's see. Another one that I can get rid of is going to be this one right here. This is the CoverGirl, or I'm sorry, the Revlon Color Stay Long Wear Makeup Foundation. And this is a beautiful foundation, but it's for combination to oily skin, and I don't have combination to oily skin. When I got this one, I did, and it looks beautiful on my skin. It wears beautiful. It does have that SPF in it, so I can't wear it every single day, but it just doesn't work for my skin anymore. It's too heavy, it's too thick, it's too drying. So I definitely want to at some point pick up the one for normal to dry skin, but I don't know when that will be because obviously I've got plenty of foundation and don't need another one, but I am going to declutter this one out of my collection. All right, so another one that I know that we can keep is this one from Fenty. This is the Soft Lit Foundation, and this is beautiful. This is a brand new release from the brand this year. It's one of my favorite foundation launches this year, and I just love this one. It's a perfect shade match for me. I have the shade 110. I am fair with a cool undertone, so if you are my skin twin, this is a really good shade match, but I just love this one. It looks beautiful on the skin, so we're gonna keep that one. Let's pull out a couple of more. So I'm just going to kind of grab from my little pile sitting right here. Let's go over this one really quick because this isn't really a foundation. This is a mix-in. It's a white mix-in. It works really good for foundations that I have that are too dark, like this one right here from KVD. I don't use it a lot, but there was a point that I was kind of self-tanning or really bad at matching my foundation, and this came in handy. So I like to hang on to it for that reason. So not really a foundation, but I keep it with my foundations. We are going to keep this one from Dolce & Gabbana. I am still testing it out. I don't have my final thoughts, so that one's not going anywhere. I'm going to keep my one from Christian Louboutin. This is a favorite foundation. I am ashamed to say that it's a favorite foundation because it has a hefty price tag, but this just looks so flawless and beautiful on the skin. It is a full coverage matte foundation, but it's just so natural and skin-like looking on the skin. It just doesn't wear heavy or look heavy. It just looks beautiful and flawless, and I absolutely love this one. We're gonna go ahead and keep this one from Yensa. I want to try and use this one up and kind of move it out of my collection. It is a beautiful foundation. It is very full coverage and I do really enjoy it. And you know what? Let me see if it's still any good because this one is a little bit older. Oh, that's dark. That's not even the color that it's supposed to be. Ooh, that smells really bad. That is not good anymore. Okay, we're gonna get rid of this one. Just kidding, we are not going to keep it, but this is a beautiful foundation if this is what you're looking for. If you want something that is more of a serum foundation, gives more of a full coverage and just lays beautifully on the skin, this one is really, really nice, but it needs to go. I had the shade Light Neutral, and that's not even the shade that it was when I had it. That looks very like muddy and just gross. Okay, that one is going bye-bye. Let's see. Another one that I know I can get rid of is this one from Bobbi Brown. This is the Vitamin Enriched Skin Tint, and this is so beautiful on the skin. It has a light coverage, but you can definitely build it up to like a soft medium. But my issue with this one is, and I don't know why this one specifically, but the SPF in this one, it breaks me out immediately. I can't even wear this one day. Normally, if a foundation has an SPF in it, I can wear it 2 or 3 days before I need to switch it up, or it will start to break me out. But this one, I put it on the morning, and when I wash it off at night, my skin has already broken out the next morning. So I am going to get rid of this, and this really pains me to do because it is so incredibly beautiful, but I just can't wear it, and I'm not going to. Another one that we're going to get rid of is this one from Catrice. This is the True Skin Hydrating Foundation. It is full coverage, it is very long lasting, and this is way too heavy on my skin. Not to mention it's a horrible shade match, which is the problem I usually have with drugstore foundations. They just don't make them very light with a cool undertone. They usually go very peachy, or they just don't go light enough. But this is one that I repurchased for a full face of Catrice. I used to love this foundation, but it's just too heavy for my skin now. My skin's not the same as it used to be. It's more mature, it's more dry leaning, and this just doesn't wear on my skin. So if you have younger skin and more oily skin, this one is beautiful, but it's just not for me. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of that one. And we're gonna pull out more foundation. So let's do this while we're sitting here. So what all can we fit in the screen? I'm trying to fit as many out here at a time as I possibly can so we can carry on. All right, so let's go ahead right here. So I'm gonna go to the Ilia stick. This is the, what's it called? The Skin Rewind stick. Yes, Skin Rewind Complexion Stick. I have the shade 2C Balsa. This is beautiful. It is very lightweight, very hydrating, but it's not like a oily or thick hydrating on the skin. It just lays beautifully, and I love the way this one looks and wears on my skin. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that one. I'm also going to keep this one from Charlotte Tilbury. I do like the way this looks on my skin on its own, but honestly this looks beautiful under foundations as well, and I like this better than the Hollywood Flawless Filter, especially the undertone. I have the shade 1 Fair, and this just has a beautiful, beautiful, cool undertone to it. So I'm definitely going to be keeping this. If you have more oily skin, this might be too heavy for you, but this works really well if you just want to add a little bit of extra glow. So we're going to go ahead and keep that one. All right, so another one I know without a doubt that I am going to keep is going to be the Too Faced Born This Way Soft Matte Oil Control Foundation. And this sounds 100% wrong for my skin, but this is so beautiful. I love this foundation. I love the way it sits on my skin. I love the way that it wears. It's more of a soft matte, just like it says. So it's going to be more of like a skin-like matte finish. It is not really hydrating, although it has the hyaluronic acid in it, but it doesn't suck the life out of my skin, and this one wears beautifully in the Texas heat and humidity. So I am going to keep that one. I'm also going to keep my Urban Decay Stay Naked Hydromaniac Tinted Glow Hydrator. This has been a favorite of mine for a very long time. It is definitely more of a medium coverage, but it's nice and hydrating. It looks glowy on the skin. It just makes it look very healthy, and I love the way that this one wears on my skin as well. So I am going to keep that one. The e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. I really like this. This was very hit or miss with a lot of people, but I think this is a beautiful foundation. The shade range is not the best, and I say that because I have the two lightest shades right here. So I have 01 Fair Cool and 14 Fair Cool, and this one is too light for me. This one is too dark for me. So I have to mix the two of these together to get my perfect shade. I'm okay with that because it's like an $8 foundation. So even buying two to make my perfect shade, it's still only a $16 foundation. So I am going to keep this because I do really enjoy this one. It's the only e.l.f. foundation I have tried so far that I do truly love. So we're gonna keep that one as well. We're gonna get rid of this one from About Face. I have tried so hard to love this, and while it does look very beautiful on the skin, it just doesn't last very long. The longevity of this foundation is just not very good. It doesn't hold up to the heat, and now that my skin is drier, I feel like I really don't like it even more. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this one. And another one that I'm kind of on the fence about is this one from Polite Society. This is the More Than a Pretty Face Skin Caring Foundation, and this one, I wasn't super impressed with it when I first got it. It is a little bit on the thicker side, but it also feels hydrating. It has a really good coverage to it. The longevity on this one is okay. And when I'm talking about longevity, generally I like my foundation to last at least a good 10 to 12 hours on my skin. I'm someone who puts my makeup on in the morning and I wear it until I take it off at night, and usually that's at least 10 to 12 hours. But I think for now, I'm gonna hang on to this one and try and wear it a little bit more, and then we'll revisit this one at like my halfway point declutter. So it's on the fence, but I definitely want to play with it a little bit more because like I said, my skin is forever changing. Let's go over some that I know without a doubt I am keeping. First up, we have this one from Burberry. This is the Beyond Wear. I have only worn this once. It's for a foundation wear test. Y'all will see that video very soon, but I'm going to go ahead and keep this one for that reason. My Prada Reveal Foundation. This is a holy grail for me. This one came out the beginning of the year, and I have fallen in love with this one. I have the shade LC5. It is a perfect shade match for me, and you can see I'm already down to about halfway through this foundation because it's just a go-to for me. If I don't know what I want to do, if I'm unsure, I pull out this one, and I love that it's refillable, so you don't have any waste. You don't have to purchase this every single time. This is glass and the rest of this is plastic, but we're going to keep that one. I'm also going to keep my Chanel Le Beige Healthy Glow Foundation. This one, I say I'm still testing. I know my final thoughts on it, but I haven't put it in a speed reviews video, but this one has quickly become a favorite as well. It is so beautiful on the skin. It is very hydrating, very glowy, so if you have super oily skin, this may not be the best for you, but the longevity on this foundation is probably the best out of everything that I have. I have worn this for 17 hours, and it looks perfect. So I'm going to keep that one. I'm going to keep my one from Koujin Do. Now this one is the Aqua Foundation, and this one is very pricey, but absolutely beautiful on the skin. It's more of a medium coverage. It's very lightweight, very natural looking on the skin, and it just wears so beautifully. So I am going to keep that one. Let's pull out some more foundations if I can do it without knocking everything over. So let's go ahead and pull out all of these. All right. We're getting close to the end, but we're not quite there. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with one that I know I can get rid of. It's this one from Urban Decay. This is, what's this called? The Face Bond Foundation. This looks horrible on my skin. Not only is this made for oily skin, but if you have any kind of wrinkles, lines, anything in your skin, this finds them and makes them like 10 times worse. This found lines I didn't even know that I had in my skin. This looks so bad on my skin, and I can't make it work for me. I wanted to because I really love my Urban Decay Stay Naked Hydromaniac foundation, and I was really hoping this would be a good one for the summer here, but I just can't make it work. So I'm going to get rid of it. I give up. I'm over it at this point, and I just don't care enough to keep it. My House Labs foundation. This is one that unfortunately I need to get rid of. The color has changed. It stinks. It just doesn't work for me anymore. This is a beautiful foundation and one that I loved for a very long time, but I don't know if it's one that I would repurchase. If I get to a point where I'm missing it in my collection, I would, but as of now, while I'm sitting here, I'm okay with getting rid of it. There wasn't a whole lot left. It was down to about here, but you can see like it's very dark and very orange, and this was 40 Fair Neutral, so that one is going to go away as well. My Chantecaille Future Skin, this is going nowhere. This is a gel foundation. It is an absolute favorite of mine. This one is very light coverage as well. It has a little bit more coverage than the one from Chanel, but it is formulated with mostly water, so it is very hydrating, very skin-like, and it just looks beautiful. I love this one. This is one that I will repurchase over and over. It is a holy grail of mine in my collection. The Glossier, what is this, Stretch Fluid Foundation. I loved this when I first got it, but I have not used it in a hot minute, so I need to kind of reacclimate myself to this foundation. Like I said, I remember loving it, but I don't know what it's going to do on my skin now. So I am going to keep this one and try and pull it and get some use out of it. And maybe we'll revisit it if we need to at my mid-year declutter. But for now, that one is going to stay. And two more that I kind of need to do that with are these two from Fenty. I don't remember loving these, but I don't remember hating them either. So I need to get more use out of them. We have the Eavesdrop foundation, and this one is supposed to be like a serum, and that is a really pretty shade match. It may be just a little bit too light for me. I have the shade 1, but I want to test this one out some more as well. So that one's going to need to be pulled. And then I have the Stick foundation, and I remembered loving this one when it came out, but again, my skin was a little bit different at the time. Gosh, that feels so creamy. I think that's going to be beautiful. Stick foundations are very hit or miss for me because sometimes they're a little too stiff and they cater more towards oily skin, but I'm loving that we're getting more creamy stick foundations and ones that are a little bit more hydrating. But I'm going to go ahead and hang on to this as well. Let's see, we are down, we're getting there, we're almost done. Let me pull out the rest because I think they're going to fit. All right, yes, they just about all fit on the screen. So this is the rest of the foundations that I have to go through. So I am going to keep the Tier Cushion foundation. This is the most full coverage yet natural looking foundation that I have in my collection. I don't always go for a full coverage, but there's definitely a time and place for it. And this is one that I really want to hang on to it because I do love the way that it looks and wears on my skin. So we're gonna go ahead and keep that one. One that I'm on the fence about is this one from Huda Beauty. This is the Easy Blur Natural Airbrush Foundation. And while this didn't look and wear horrible on my skin, it definitely didn't give me an airbrush finish to my skin. Like it definitely kind of sat funny around my nose and kind of broke up a little bit. It looked very makeup-y, and you know what? I'm gonna get rid of it. The more I'm saying that, the more I'm just like, I'm not gonna reach for it. Like, there's just no point in keeping it if I don't like the way that it looks on my skin. I have plenty of other foundations to use, and it's just gonna get lost in this sea of foundation, and I can give this to somebody else that's going to love it and use it, and it's really gonna work for their skin. So I am going to get rid of that. I'm going to keep my Christian Dior stick foundation. This is still very new. I'm still testing it out. I do have my thoughts, but I haven't put it in a speed review video yet. So I am going to keep that one. My Armani Luminous Silk. This is beautiful. This is a small little, like the tester size or whatever. They have like the big one and then the small one. So I got the small one because I'd always wanted to try it. This is beautiful. I would 100% repurchase this one. I just love the way that it lays and looks on my skin. Okay, so we're getting down to these, and another one that I'm kind of on the fence about is this one from ABH. This is the, what's it called? The Beauty Balm. And this is one that it is a beauty balm, but it's not meant to be worn as a foundation. In other words, if you put this on over moisturizer or primer, it is going to sit on top of the skin and it's never going to mesh in and it's going to look awful. This is meant to be used in place of your moisturizer, so not in combination with, and I do like it. I just don't get as much use out of it as I want to because I am somebody who, I wash my face and I just automatically do my skincare. So I don't know if I want to keep this one or not. I'm on the fence about it. So I think for now, I'm going to go ahead and set this aside and we're going to come back to that. My Dolce & Gabbana, what is this one called? The Blueberry Neutra Tint. This is another skin tint with a very light coverage. I keep saying that the Chanel is the only one with a really light coverage. This one has a really light coverage too. It is very similar to the coverage that you're going to get with the Chantecaille, but this one is just a little bit more like thick. It's very liquidy, but it's just a little bit more thick, and it doesn't look quite as natural, but it is still very beautiful on the skin, and I am going to keep this one because I do enjoy it. We're going to keep this one from Revolution, and we're also going to keep this one from Laura Mercier. I put these together because these two are pretty much the same foundation, like truly they are. The shade range in this one is atrocious, so if you can find your shade and you're interested in this formula, I definitely say get this one. But if you can't find your shade, which is going to be like 90% of people, then I would just go with the Laura Mercier. It's a beautiful serum foundation. It just looks flawless on the skin. It's a good medium to full coverage foundation. Like, you can build it up pretty well. Not to a full-on full, but it just looks beautiful on the skin, and I really enjoy both of them. So I am going to keep both of those. All right. One that I think I can get rid of, and this kind of pains me, this is the Estee Lauder Double Wear, and this is another one that I used to love. It's full coverage. It was a holy grail, but this is so heavy and cakey on my skin, and that's just not a look that I go to. I like to have more of a natural finish to my skin. I don't mind a full coverage, and I don't mind a matte foundation, but this just doesn't give my skin the look that I want. It's very old at this point, and I just never reach for it. It just sits here. I know it's expired for a fact because I'm pretty sure this is about 2-3 years old at this point. So I am going to declutter this one. Yeah, it's a shame, but I just don't reach for it, and I feel like it was good at its time, but we've gotten so many better foundations at this point. Okay, I am going to keep my MAC Studio Radiance Serum Powdered Foundation. I love this one. It is so beautiful on the skin. It is very lightweight. It's got a good shade match for me. It just looks very natural, very radiant. It is a little bit thicker, but if I apply it with a sponge, it just spreads out so beautifully on the skin. It's not a perfect shade match for me. It could be a little bit better, but I can make it work, especially more in the summertime when I get slightly darker. Not that much, but enough that I can use it. Another one that I'm going to keep is this one from Makeup Forever. This is the HD Skin Hydro Glow Foundation. Now, I never tried the original one, but I do really enjoy this one. It's just a little sample size of it, kind of like the Armani one. So I am going to keep that one as well. Alrighty. This one from Kosas, this one needs to go because it stinks. I haven't even had this one for a year, but since it's a clean beauty brand, it has like no preservatives in it, and it has gone bad. It smells so bad. I tried to wear it a couple of weeks ago, and it was putrid. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that one. That's part of the reason I don't like clean beauty, but to each their own. No judgment. We are not judging anybody. These are ones I'm kind of indifferent about, except for this one. I love this foundation. This is the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear Care and Glow Foundation. Absolutely beautiful, very glowy, good medium coverage, looks beautiful on the skin, wears beautiful on the skin. If the original Teint Idole foundation is too heavy for you and too matte, go for this one because it's beautiful. But I love that one, so we're going to keep that one. We're also going to keep my Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation. This is beautiful, but I will say I was disappointed in it. It wasn't as beautiful as what I was expecting. Oh, excuse me. Mine is a little too light for me, so I do have to mix it in, but I figured out the perfect way to mix it. And it is pretty, but it's not one that I would repurchase, but I will get use out of it. So we're going to hang on to that one. We're going to hang on to this one from Patrick Ta. This is one I'm still very indifferent about. I go back and forth as to whether or not I love it, but I think I like it, I just don't love it. So I'm going to hang on to this one as well. It is very glowy. You cannot wear it on its own. You definitely have to set it. Otherwise, it is going to slip and slide everywhere. All right, y'all, so this is what we're down to, including this little guy right here. And I think I'm just gonna go ahead and keep all of these. This one is beautiful. I do really enjoy it. I don't know why I'm hesitating on this one. This is marketed as a skin tint, but this is definitely like a medium coverage foundation, but it is beautiful on the skin. It's affordable. I do really enjoy it. Again, shade range is not the best, but I am going to keep that one. This one from KVD, I really enjoy. It's way too dark for me, and the lightest one is too light for me, and I refuse to have two shades in an expensive foundation. But with that being said, I love it mixed in with the one from REM. On their own, honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of these two, but when you mix them together, something magical happens, and I love the way they look. I would not repurchase either one of these for that reason, but I do want to use them because I did spend my money on them and they are beautiful. Now, the Good Apple one is going to be light 12, and then the one from REM is going to be fair 3N, and this one's too light for me. I don't know if I said that already, but I'm going to go ahead and keep both of those. And then I'm going to go ahead and keep this one because I do like the way this looks on my skin. I do have to mix it with something because it's not my perfect shade, but it is a really good affordable foundation, and it's one of the few that I have that is actually a decent shade match, and I like the way that it looks on my skin. Now, as far as this one from Bobbi Brown goes, it does have the SPF in it, so I can't wear it every single day, but this does look stunning on the skin, and I want to finish it up. I wouldn't repurchase it, but I definitely want to get through it. I have the shade C004 Alabaster. I'm sorry if I'm not giving you every single shade. If I missed one, you can ask me down below and I'll let you know what shade I have, but I am going to keep this because it's beautiful. These two, the CoverGirl Clean Invisible and the Smashbox Halo, I have not used these enough to know how I feel about them. I got them sent to me. I can't remember from where. It might have been an influencer, I don't know, but I haven't used them enough to know how I feel about them, so I definitely want to get some use out of them, and I'll let y'all know what I think in a speed reviews video. I'm not going to do a dedicated video or anything like that with them, but I do want to get some use out of those. This one from MAC is not a favorite, but it's not bad. I wouldn't repurchase it, but it's also not a go-to, but I am going to hang on to it, and I'm going to hang on to this one as well, and then again we'll revisit these at the halfway point throughout the year. So for now, let me go ahead and gather everything together, give you my totals, and then we will move on. Alright, y'all, so these are all of the foundations that I am keeping. I started out with 53. I am keeping 31. I know that's a lot, but I do love these. I do use these, and I will get through them. But with that being said, I am decluttering 12 foundations, and that's a very small number, I know, but like I've said several times, I am not decluttering to declutter, but it does feel good to get these out of my collection and not have them staring at me, making me feel guilty for not using them. Some of these will go in the trash and some of these will find a new home, but let me go ahead and put these away, and we're going to move on to concealers. Alright, concealers and color correctors. So I have 30 of them sitting in front of me, and I don't know if there's going to be a lot of decluttering in here because I don't purchase nearly as many concealers as I do foundations, and for the most part I really love the ones that I have. But let's go ahead and go through these because there's definitely a couple that can go, but let's go ahead and start with the ones that I know are going to stay. So the first one that I have is this one from Burberry. This is the Beyond Wear Concealer. Again, I've only used this one once. I'm still wear testing it, so we're gonna keep that one for sure, 100%. My Westman Atelier, I've pretty much given you all my final thoughts on this one, but I haven't put it in a speed review video. But besides that, I love and adore this concealer. You can see the windowing that I have right there because I've been using it so much. So that one is going to stay. My Gucci concealer, I love this. In fact, I love it in conjunction with the one from Natasha Denona. This is just such a beautiful combination under my eyes. This one is a tiny bit too dark for me, but this one just kind of brightens it up. This one looks beautiful on its own as well, but I love these two. So these two are both going to stay as well. Another one that's going to stay is this one from House Labs. This is such a beautiful concealer. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I didn't give y'all shades on some of these. So the Burberry one I have is going to be in 20 Fair Neutral. For Westman Atelier, it's going to be L1. Natasha Denona is going to be N1. And Gucci is going to be 11C Fair. But back to the House Labs. This is beautiful. This is in the shade 03 Rosy Fair. And this is kind of a more full coverage concealer, but it's very serum-like and lightweight under the eyes. It's very hydrating. It just looks beautiful, and I really, really enjoy this one, so I'm going to keep that one. The Hourglass Vanish Concealer. This is a holy grail of mine as well. I had decluttered one of these earlier this year. It had gone bad, and I missed it, so I repurchased it. I have the shade Creme. Beautiful kind of high medium coverage, very lightweight under the eyes. It doesn't accentuate texture. That's going to be a theme with the concealers that I keep. I like ones that are going to be a little bit thinner. I don't mind a full coverage. I don't really have a preference as far as coverage under my eyes goes, just because I don't have a whole lot of darkness or sallowness under there. I just like to kind of brighten them up, but I like something that's going to be hydrating and it's going to sit really well under my dry and kind of crepey under eyes. I do have a lot of texture and wrinkles going on under there, so if I love it, generally that's what it's going to do. But we are going to keep the one from Hourglass, my Cali Ray Hideaway. Oh my gosh, this has been a favorite of mine. It is a favorite release of the year. Probably this one and the Westman Atelier are the two best concealers that have been released this year, in my opinion. This one is more of a color corrector, and the rest of the line is a corrector, but you can also wear it as a concealer, and this shade works perfect for my fair, cool skin tone. So that one I am going to keep 100%. I'm going to get rid of this one from Too Faced. I hate this concealer. It is very heavy, very thick. It looks awful under my eyes. It is definitely not mature under eye, dry skin friendly. I got this one because Heather Austin rants and raves about it. It's one of her favorites, but she has more oily leaning skin, so I'm sure it works beautiful for her, but it does not work for me, so we're gonna get rid of that one. We're also gonna get rid of this one from Maybelline. This has been a favorite of mine from years. I still absolutely love this one, but it is very, very old. I've been trying to get through it and it's just gross at this point, so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of it. I will probably repurchase another one at some point. I have the shade 110 and it's a perfect shade match for me, but this is a holy grail from the drugstore for me, so I do really love it, but it's old and it needs to go. The NYX Bear With Me, this is a beautiful concealer. I absolutely hate the application process. I hate the pump. I wish we had a doe foot, but it still looks beautiful. I can make it work, and I am going to keep that one. My Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Lift and Flex Concealer. I couldn't read that. There was a glare. I have the shade 1. This is beautiful. This is a little too light for me, so it does a lot of brightening, but I like the way that it lays under the eyes. I like how hydrating it is. It's very smoothing, very blurring. It's just a stunning concealer, so we're going to go ahead and keep that one. This one from KVD, I think we might get rid of this one. Let me smell it. Yeah, it smells like paint thinner, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one. I did really enjoy it, but I noticed it was starting to look a little drying under my eyes. It could be because it's a little bit older, but it is a beautiful concealer, but mine's old and gross and stinks. So we're going to get rid of that one. We're also going to get rid of this one from Catrice. It's just too heavy under my eyes. It is not flattering. It's more on the drying side. It says it has hyaluronic acid in it, but it is not flattering under my eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that one. We are getting down to these right here. Let's go over this color correctors right here. So we've got this little section right here. So first off, I have this one from e.l.f. This is the Camo Color Corrector in the blue shade, and I bought this one because Kelly Gooch had said that this is really good for correcting foundations that have more of that orangey undertone to it. I've tried it and it never works out for me, so I don't have a need for this. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of it. The few times I've tried it, it looks awful. I hate it. The ones from Tarte, these are so good. I really enjoy both of these. This is good if you want to kind of spot conceal any breakouts, a little bit of redness that you have going on. It looks beautiful. It's thin. It holds up really nicely. It's not cakey. And then this one, which is the peachy pink, looks beautiful under the eyes if I need to change the tone of something. So for example, I have this one from Tula and this one from Tarte that are just a little too light and a little too neutral. This adds that cool undertone back into it that I need for a perfect shade match. So I'm going to go ahead and keep both of those as well. And I'm also going to keep this one from Catrice. This is the Instant Awake Under Eye Brightener. And this one is a dupe for the one from Becca. I haven't used it nearly as much as I want to because I forget about it. It gets lost in here. And this is beautiful. This is like the perfect tone for my under eyes. I like how hydrating it is. It just adds that little bit of pinkiness back to under my eyes when I'm going in with a more neutral leaning concealer. So definitely going to be keeping those as well, although I will say the Becca corrector is still my absolute favorite. Okay, now out of these, we're going to keep my one from Tula. This is way too light for me, but it just looks so beautiful under the eyes. It's very hydrating yet again, very serum, very lightweight, and it looks beautiful. I have the shade 100. The one from Refi, this one is beautiful. This one and the one from Cover FX, I find to have a very similar formula to them. They are a little heavier. A tiny bit goes a long way. Less is more with these, but they look beautiful and they're both self-setting, which is a huge deal because I have a really hard time finding concealers that are self-setting. I don't always love the way that a powder looks under my eyes, but sometimes it's nice to have one that does kind of self-set. I felt like I was talking in circles just then, like I had a different idea in my head than what came out of my mouth. My point was, I prefer a self-setting concealer just because it looks more natural under my eyes, but I don't mind setting a concealer. But these two I don't have to set. So I'm going to keep both of these. I have the shade F1 from Cover FX, and I have shade 04 from Refi. And now we are down to these. So my Tarte Creaseless Creamy Concealer, beautiful, love it, stunning. I do not like the Shape Tape. I've tried all three and I didn't like any of them, but this looks beautiful under my eyes. So we're gonna go ahead and keep that one. The Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener, this one gets a lot of hate, but this is beautiful, especially if you want to have sort of that no makeup day and you want just a little bit of brightening under your eyes. I like to pair this one with my Chantecaille, my Water Fresh tint from Chanel, and things like that because it's not too full and it just adds that little bit under my eyes. It's very cooling. I, like many others, am not a fan of the applicator, but it's not impossible to work with and it's not a make or break. But I have the shade Light and I really love that one. Let's get in to these. So this one from Essence is nice. It works fine, but it's not a favorite and I'm not going to reach for it. So even though I like it, I'm going to get rid of it. I just have other concealers that look better under my eyes, and while I can make my face work with different foundations and things like that, my under eyes I am very picky about because I have a lot of texture under there and I don't like it to be accentuated. And this one, it's fine, it's pretty, but it's very hit or miss, and I'm not going to use it, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. I'm also going to get rid of this color corrector from Sigma. I don't understand the hype behind this. These shades do not work for me. These are very like thick and balmy, and I just don't understand. I've come to find out I'm just not impressed with Sigma, and there you go, I said it. I'm probably one of the only beauty YouTubers, so to speak, that does not like Sigma, but everything I try, I'm not overly impressed with. I don't find it to be worth the price point. So I'm going to get rid of this and give it to somebody else. Okay. we are down to these. This one from e.l.f. and this one from NYX. I really like both of these. This one is more of a brightener under the eye. It is very lightweight, very hydrating. It has sort of this pen style applicator, which is not my favorite, but it's a really pretty formula, and it's the only one that I have from e.l.f., so I am going to keep that. And this one from NYX is beautiful. It is very creamy for a stick concealer. It's the only stick concealer I have, and I just love the way that it looks under my eyes, so I am going to keep that one. Now this one from Lancome, I love this formula, but I got the wrong shade. I don't know what I was thinking. This is very yellow on me. I can make it work. It's still fine, and I'm going to make it work, at least until I get the correct shade. So for now, I'm going to hang on to it. We'll see if I pick up the correct shade at some point. This is 0.95, and I should have gotten one with a cool undertone, but when I picked this one up, I wanted it. It was on sale. They didn't have my correct shade, and like I said, I can make it work. I don't want to, but I will. Okay, these three right here. So the Fenty Beauty one, I did not give a glowing review on, and I have to take that review back because I really have been enjoying this. I've been using it a little bit more lately, and less is more, and it looks really pretty if you go in with a very, very tiny amount of powder over top. Like the more powder you put over top and the more of this you apply, the worse it looks. So it's very finicky. But once you figure out the amount to apply of the concealer and the powder, it looks really pretty. So I am going to keep this one. I wouldn't repurchase it, but I do really enjoy it, and it pairs beautifully with their foundation. So we're going to keep that one. And then we're down to these two. So this one is from Ritual Defeat, and this was their Lab Access release. This was one that you bought and you got to try out and give your feedback for whenever they brought it out. And this is so incredibly thick. Like, it does kind of thin out under the eyes, but it's too thick for my preferences, and I know I said that in the thing that I just found it to be too thick. It is a ultra high coverage concealer. It doesn't cover tattoos or anything like that. Like, I'll show you what I'm talking about. It is very full coverage, but as far as like covering a tattoo goes, like, you can still see my tattoo through that. So to me, that's not ultra high coverage. It is a full coverage, but it ain't that full coverage. And it's just way, 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 way too thick. So I am going to get rid of that one. And then we're down to this one from Huda Beauty. This one is so many people's favorite concealer. It's a holy grail, and I do think it's really pretty, and I like the way it looks under my eyes, but it's not a holy grail of mine. But I am going to hang on to it. I am going to use it. I have the shade Royal Icing 1.1 in, but it's not one that I would ever repurchase. It's not a holy grail for me. It just... Huda Beauty is one of those brands, a lot like One Size, that they really cater to more oily skin, and I don't have oily skin. I have normal dry skin, so their products are very hit or miss for me, and I just don't love them as much as everybody else, and that is okay. That is 100% okay, but I am going to hang on to this for now. Alright y'all, so after all is said and done, these are the concealers that I am keeping. We started with 30, I'm keeping 22, and I am decluttering 8 different concealers, and that is going to be all of these right here. And again, I know that's not a huge number. I didn't get it in half or anything like that, but it feels good to get these out of here. They're just kind of hanging out in my collection. I don't use them. They've gone bad. Some of these just need to find a new home and somebody that will love them. But I am very happy with the way that went. But let me go ahead and put these away, and I am going to pull out powders, and this one is going to be a doozy. Alright y'all, so this is a lot of setting powder, and again, this isn't even all of it. I have 37 setting powders. Why? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you why. I like powder, but it's not anything I get overly excited about. And I'm looking at these and I don't know how well we're going to do as far as decluttering goes, but we're going to try. So let's go ahead and start with some of them that are a little bit more obvious. And again, just like I did with the foundations, as I kind of dwindle this down, we'll bring in the rest. So let's go ahead and start right here with Huda Beauty. So I have 2 of the Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder. I have the shade Cupcake and then I have the shade Pound Cake, and Pound Cake is the wrong shade for me, so I'm going to get rid of Pound Cake, but I am going to keep Cupcake. I do really enjoy this powder. I think it's beautiful. It's one of the few like mattifying powders in my collection that doesn't feel heavy or cakey on my skin, so I am going to keep this one. Another one that I feel like we can do kind of the same thing with is the Kosas Cloud Set powder. This is a stunning powder. I absolutely love it. It's a holy grail of mine. The first one I ever got though was Breezy, and you can see I used a lot of it. Like that dome shape is just about gone, but honestly this is too dark for me. It really truly is. I've struggled to make it work and I need to just get up and get over it and move on, because this one right here in the shade Airy is my perfect shade. Like look at how light that is compared to the other one. Like you can just see it has such a better undertone. It's much lighter. So I am going to get rid of the one in Breezy and I am going to keep the shade Airy. Okay, another one that I know I'm going to keep is going to be the Hourglass Translucent Setting Powder Veil. This is a holy grail of mine. This one is getting low, but then I also have this little travel one that I got as a gift with purchase. I love this powder. It just looks so beautiful and blurring on the skin. It doesn't have a matte finish to it. It has more of a skin-like finish. And for me, it just locks my makeup in place and it looks beautiful all day long. So I am going to keep both of those as well. And then we're gonna kind of move some of these in and up a little bit. All right, another one that we know I'm going to keep is going to be my Pat McGrath Labs Blurring Under Eye Powder in the shade Baby Pink. This is a holy grail. I use pretty much only this under my under eyes. I mix it up a little bit, but this is a holy grail. It's getting very flat. I'm sure I'll probably hit pan at some point very soon and I will repurchase it, but I am going to keep this one. I'm also going to keep my one from Refi. This is the water-based powder. This is beautiful. I'm still testing it out, so I haven't put it in a speed reviews and given my full thoughts, but I do absolutely love it, and I am going to keep that one. These two from Kristen Dominique. First of all, the translucent one, I'm almost done. There is like the tiniest bit left, so I want to finish this one out. I can probably get it done by the end of the year if I just kind of get down to it. This is a nice setting powder. I wouldn't repurchase it, I don't think. I could miss it when it's gone. It's very affordable. You don't get a whole lot in here, which is kind of nice if you have a large collection. But then there's the shade Rosita as well, and this is very pretty. It looks very intimidating in here because it is very pink, but it shears out really nicely and it just looks beautiful under the eye. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep this one as well. And this one, I'm gonna put this back in my everyday drawer where I pulled it from, and I am going to finish this one. I am determined to have this one finished by the end of the year. So let's hope that I can do that. This one from Lunar Beauty is beautiful. It is a very natural powder on the face. It does control oil, but it's also not one of those that feels drying on the skin. It's very finely milled, very lightweight, and it just looks beautiful. So I definitely want to keep that one. This one from Huda Beauty, I did like it. I did really enjoy it. I think it looks fine under my eyes. It's not a favorite of mine. It has a little bit of a sheen to it, and I was using this one a lot until I came across this one from Pat McGrath. So I just prefer this one better. This one has the tiniest little amount of pink to it, but I think I want to hang on to this one for just a little bit longer. I was kind of thinking I would get rid of it, but it does look really pretty under my eyes. I know most people hated this because they were expecting it to be a carbon copy of the Easy Bake, but in a pressed formula. and I was disappointed too, but I still think it looks beautiful under my eyes. So I am going to keep this one for now. I'm not doing very well with powders, am I? Okay. One that I am going to get rid of, and this one pains me because this is a beautiful powder. It is very finely milled, but it is way too dark for my under eyes. It's in the shade pink. It's this one from Tarte. This is the creaseless setting powder in the shade pink. It comes with a little puff, but let me show you what I'm talking about. So one, like, it is wildly pink, like too pink under my eyes. It looks like it would sheer out nicely, but it just deepens up my concealer no matter what. It deepens up my face. I really want to get the lavender one, so I am going to get rid of this one, and maybe eventually I'll get the lavender one, but the pink I think is better suited for medium cool skin tone. So that one is going to go bye-bye. Oh my gosh, this is hard. I'm sitting here looking at all these and I'm like, I need to get rid of powders, but I genuinely like all of these. Like, I don't really have any in here that I don't like. So let me kind of bring the rest of these out because I think for the most part I can fit them on screen. Okay. This one from La Mer. It's going nowhere. Would I repurchase it? Probably not, because it's ridiculously expensive for a powder. I have other finely milled ones in my collection that look beautiful, and this is like a freaking paperweight. It's so heavy, but I am going to use it. In fact, my goal is to use up this powder next year, and I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but look at how much I have left. Like, it's almost empty. There's not a whole lot left. So I want to try and use this one up. And my big goal for the beginning of next year is to not buy any more primers or powders until I get through some of the ones that I have. And it's going to kind of be the same for lip products as well, but we'll get to that later. But let's carry on. So I'm definitely going to keep my Guerlain Meteorites. I use these as a finishing powder. This adds a beautiful glow to the skin. I absolutely love them. They are very, very fragrant. They remind me of my grandma, so they have sort of that old lady smell. I know that's not politically correct, but it reminds me of my grandma. My grandma was an old lady, so that's not meant in a mean way, but I love these. I'm going to keep them. I don't care. I'm going to keep my Kojin Dough powder. This is so beautiful on the skin. It is very finely milled. This is the Sheer Moist powder, and I bought this one thinking it was going to have like that wet effect to the skin, kind of like the Becca or the Refi. It doesn't do that, but oh my gosh, does it look beautiful on the skin. So that one is going to stay. Oh y'all, I am not doing well at all. I think, can I get rid of this one? This is my Fenty Pro Filter Powder in the shade Lavender, and it's like the only lavender powder that I have. It looks beautiful. It still smells good. I think I'm gonna keep it, y'all. I'm gonna keep it. I like it. It's beautiful, and it kind of fills that little void that I have in my collection, and it'll probably keep me from buying another powder right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep that. I'm gonna get rid of this. This is the Catrice Soft Glam Filter Powder. This is very finicky. It looks good as a finishing powder, but I don't reach for it. It's got color correcting properties in it, and it's just not my speed. So I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to get rid of this one from One Size. This is actually the second one I've ever used. This is a powder foundation, but again, I love this when my skin was more combination oily, and it is a beautiful powder foundation, but it is just not for my skin. So I am going to get rid of that one. I'm going to keep my Lawless. Look at that pan. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I love that pan. But this is a beautiful, beautiful powder. I love this for setting all over the face. I'm very picky when it comes to my under eyes, and this is not one that I like under my eyes, but I like it on the rest of my face. Another one I'm going to keep is my Dior Powder No Powder. Absolutely beautiful. I like it all over my face. I thought they were discontinuing this, but then they didn't. But then I hear that they are. So I don't know, but it's a beautiful powder. I absolutely love it. It's going nowhere. All right, so we're getting down to this. And I like all of these. I know I don't have to get rid of anything, but I have way too much powder. So this one from Sigma, I do think this is really pretty. This is one of the few products that I do think is absolutely beautiful. This is their finishing powder. What's it called exactly? Hold on. This is their Soft Focus Setting Powder. I have the shade Vanilla Bean. This is beautiful. I do want to use it. You can see I've used a lot of that one as well, so I am going to keep that. These two right here from Glamlight. This is a beautiful powder. I love the way this sets my face. It is stunning, very finely milled. It is a little bit more on the matte side, but it works really good in the summer, so I'm going to keep that one. And y'all, this is super affordable, and this is a huge component. How much powder do you get in here? Does it say anywhere on here how much you get? Of course it doesn't say anywhere on here how much you get. It does have an 18-month shelf life though. But anyways, it is an absolute ton of product. Look right here. It says, I think that's 1.23 ounces or 35 grams of product. That is a lot of powder, but I am going to keep this one, but I am going to get rid of this one because look at that. That's like strawberry pink, and it is way too pink for under my eyes yet again. So I am going to get rid of that one. Yay me, very proud of myself. This one from e.l.f. This is the Halo Glow Setting Powder. I am going to keep this one. It has a beautiful glow. It is very like dry skin friendly. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that one. Y'all, I think I'm pretty much going to keep everything that's left. I'm going to keep my one size. This one is definitely more mattifying, but again, I like this one in the summertime. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that one. I think I'm going to get rid of this one from Melt. I didn't mind this one, but look at all that hard pan that mine has. Like, I can't even pick that up anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. This is a finishing powder. It has a beautiful glow to it. It is very cool undertone, but I'm going to get rid of it. I am going to keep my one from Polite Society. This is a beautiful, very finely milled powder. It sets my face beautifully. It doesn't feel heavy, cakey, or gross. This one from Rare Beauty, I think I'm going to get rid of. I'm just not impressed with it. And look, I've got hard pan in that one as well. So I am going to get rid of that one. I'm going to keep my Prism Libre. This is the original formula, and I can't part with it. Like, I can't do it. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that. This one from Natasha Denona is beautiful. Mine is too light. I can make it work, but this is a beautiful powder foundation, especially if you have more normal dry leaning skin. It just melts into the skin and looks beautiful all day long. So I am going to keep that one. And then we are down to these, and this is really hard because I have loved this one from Laura Mercier for so long. It's very big, it's very bulky, and I will never get through this. I don't know what I was thinking buying this, but I think I'm over this powder. I really do. It's too heavy for my skin these days, and it just doesn't look as pretty on my skin as it used to now that it's a little bit drier. So we're gonna get rid of the Laura Mercier. I did not see that one coming, y'all, like at all. I'm also gonna get rid of this one from NYX. This is beautiful, but it's yellow, and it just doesn't, it can kind of be casty on my skin. It's very finicky. Sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't, and it's a really good affordable option, but I wish they made this in more of a translucent that wasn't white, something that had a little bit of a base to it, or maybe even like a very soft pink, because formula-wise this is beautiful, but it just doesn't work for my skin. Like, look, it has that yellow cast to it. So I love that powder though. Ugh, such a hard choice. I'm gonna get rid of this one though. Wait, maybe this is the one. I'm on the fence. Do I want to keep this one? This one was really nice. It's a powder foundation, but it sets the face really nicely. So maybe I should keep this one and get rid of the one from NYX, or maybe I should just keep what's left and call it a day. Like, I feel like I got rid of a good amount, and I feel like I'm hesitating, and I don't want to regret any of my declutters. I'm, like I said, not trying to declutter, but I just feel like if I declutter these now, am I going to regret it? And I know they're more affordable and I could repurchase them, but then again, I don't want to. So we're gonna hold on to the rest of these that are left. I've got a good little pile over here, not the best, but it's a good one, and we're gonna keep these. So we have the Ofra pressed powder for oil control. This is actually really beautiful, and it is translucent. It doesn't have a flashback. And then of course my Charlotte Tilbury. This used to be my favorite under eye powder, and the Pat McGrath has just kind of dethroned this, but this is still a beautiful powder. And then of course we have my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. This is beautiful as well. It adds a beautiful glow to the skin. So we're gonna go ahead and keep the rest of these, and let me go ahead and get my totals. All right, y'all, so these are the powders that I'm getting rid of, and it's only 9, but I'm really proud of myself because I do genuinely like these powders, but I have to be real with myself, and these are the ones that I'm just not reaching for. Either they're the wrong tone, or they're too heavy for my skin, or whatever the reason is. So even though I kept 28 powders out of a total of 37, I do feel really good about this, and I am really proud of myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my powders away, and we are going to jump into our last section of the complexion declutter, which is going to be face mists and setting sprays. All right, y'all, so we have come to the end of the complexion portion for my collection and declutter series. Try saying that 3 times fast. It is not easy, but we are down to makeup setting sprays and mists, and this is going to be pretty anticlimactic. I can tell you that right now just by looking at this, but let's go ahead and jump into this. So we're going to go ahead and start with my MAC Fix Plus. Now, I have 2 of these. This one is empty, and this one is pretty much full. So MAC recently decided to change the sprayer because so many people were having issues with this one. I never had an issue with it personally. I have used several of these in my lifetime. It is a holy grail. I love it. So when I ran out of this one and had to open the new one, I kept this one in case I didn't like the sprayer. I could just switch it over into this bottle and call it a day, but I'm happy to report I love the new sprayer. So this one can go, but I am going to keep my MAC Fix Plus because this is a holy grail product of mine. I use it every single time I do my makeup, whether it's to wet my shadows before I apply them to my lid, mesh all my makeup together, or sometimes I'll even put this under like my primer to add a little bit of hydration back into the skin. This is a workhorse product for me, and it is going nowhere. It will be repurchased time and time again. I truly do love that one. But let's go ahead and move on to another one. So I have my One Size On Till Dawn setting spray, and this is fantastic. This is absolutely beautiful. If you live in a very hot, humid climate like I do, this is the setting spray that you need. This paired with the primer that we talked about earlier, the Secure the Sweat one, your makeup will go absolutely nowhere. I wore that primer and this setting spray with a full face of makeup when we went to the Taylor Swift concert last year, and we stood outside in the sweltering heat in May, and my makeup looked phenomenal all day. I was sweating, I was all things, and when we got home at like 2 o'clock in the morning, my makeup looked perfect. So this is another holy grail of mine. I will 100% repurchase it. I'm almost out of this one, but I love this one in the summertime, or if it's going to be really hot and I'm going to be outside and I want to have makeup on, because it's hot year round here, so it doesn't matter. Another one that is a holy grail for me is the Kate Somerville Makeup Setting Spray with SPF 50. Now this one, since it's going over makeup, I can wear, and I don't use it every single day. This is one of those that I use if I'm going to be outside and I want to reapply my SPF. It was really good when my oldest son played football and we were sitting outside. I kept this in my purse, but I also use it like if we're going somewhere, we're going to the zoo, an amusement park, whatever, and I want to reapply sunscreen and have makeup on. I just put this on over the One Size and it just reapplies all day. Love, love, love that one. All right, so another one we're going to keep is the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip and Set Refresh Spray. This is beautiful. I tried this for the first time this year and you can see I got quite a lot of use out of it, but this is another beautiful setting spray as well that I absolutely love. And the one from e.l.f. is actually pretty much a spot on dupe. So I am going to keep both of these. And honestly, I don't know if I would repurchase the one from Milk because this one's pretty much the exact same thing. Like there is no difference between the two of them. So I'm going to keep both of these. I'm going to make my way through this one and then work on this one, and then I'll probably repurchase that one. Another one that I am going to keep is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Setting Spray. This is a beautiful setting spray. It truly is. It locks everything in all day. It does exactly what it's going to do, but the one from Milani, the Make It Last, which I don't have because I've used mine up, does the same thing. It looks just as beautiful on the skin. It locks it in place just as well. It has the same consistency, like everything. It looks and feels the same. So I'm going to use this one up, but when I'm out, I will repurchase the Milani because it's a fraction of the price of this one. And yes, I am a luxury makeup junkie, but if there is an affordable alternative that is just as good on the market for a cheaper price, I'm going to use that one. But I am going to finish this up. I don't have a whole lot left at this point. I also have this little travel one as well that I will keep, and once this one runs out, I'll probably keep this as like a refillable one, but both of these are going to stay. One that I'm going to get rid of is this one from NYX. This is the Glue Setting Spray, and mine has like this big clump of white at the bottom, and it's supposed to shake up and kind of mix together, and it just doesn't do that. So it feels like water, and it kind of disrupts my makeup, and the sprayer isn't the best, so I'm gonna get rid of this. I just wasn't impressed with it. I wasn't impressed with the face glue line, which I wanted to be because it's super cute. I like the aesthetic of it, and I really enjoy NYX products, but that one's just not for me. Another one I'm going to get rid of is this one from Catrice. This one doesn't really do anything either. It's kind of glorified water. Like it doesn't even work the same way the MAC Fix Plus does. And the sprayer on this one is horrible. It is so hard to push down, and it's loud, and I don't reach for it because I don't like it. So that one's going to go. I am going to keep the NYX the Marshmallow Setting Spray. I love this one. It's a matte finish, but I don't feel like it has a matte finish. I think it just looks absolutely beautiful on the skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep that one. Plus it smells like sweet marshmallows, and I love that. I'm also going to keep this one from e.l.f. This is a beautiful setting spray. This is one that I could 100% see myself repurchasing. I'm slowly realizing that as much as I love my high-end ones, a majority of them I will not repurchase because I have more affordable alternatives that I just love just as much, if not more. And this is one that I truly do love and enjoy, but I'm going to hang on to this one. I am going to get rid of this one from Essence. I wasn't a huge fan of this one as well. This one definitely has more of a mattifying finish to it. It's nice, it's just not my speed. I don't need it, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that one. I'm going to get rid of this one as well. This is the Benefit Professional Super Setter, and I just wasn't a fan of it either. It's really cute. I like the fact that it's a travel, which is why I was hanging on to it, but I now have the Charlotte Tilbury one, and I have this one from Urban Decay, so I'm going to go ahead and pass that one on. Speaking of Urban Decay, I have a travel size. I'm just going to take it out of there. A travel size of the All Nighter. This is an OG. I do really enjoy this one, so I'm going to hang on to that one. And then I also have the All Nighter Hyaluronic Acid Watermelon Fruit Extract. Now this one I have a love-hate relationship because I do like the way that it sets my makeup, and I like the way that it smells. It is hydrating. It's not as hydrating as I wanted it to be compared to some of these others, but it's very sticky on the skin. So it's not one that I will use on the daily. I like this one more in the summertime as well. I have used it a couple of times when it's been cooler out, and I just don't like the way that it sits on my skin, but I am going to hang on to this one and use it. And then we're down to these, and I'm gonna get rid of this one from ColourPop. This one is nice, but it's almost too much on my skin. It almost adds too much hydration and too much glow back to the skin. It smells like coconut, which I absolutely love, but I just don't reach for it. It's been in my collection for a couple years, so it's probably old and expired too, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of it instead of it staring at me in the face every time I open up the drawer. These, I'm gonna keep all of these. So the Patrick Ta, I really enjoy. This does lock my makeup in place, and it adds hydration back to the skin. Again, I wouldn't repurchase it, but it is a beautiful one. I do really enjoy that one. This one is a high-end one that I would repurchase. So this is a Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. It's the Tatcha. It's been around forever. It was very popular like way back when, but I repurchased this one because now I love it more than I used to. It really kind of brings hydration back to my skin whenever I've over powdered or I have on like a really mattifying foundation. This is beautiful. A tiny bit goes a long way. It has a very fine mist, but I really do love and enjoy that one. The one from Juvia's Place, this is really nice. It has a very florally scent to it, so I'm not a huge fan of that. It's not offensive, it's just not a favorite, but I do like the way that it sets my makeup and it looks on my skin. I will use it up, but it's not one that I would repurchase. I really need to get through a lot of these setting sprays, y'all, so I need to make sure I don't purchase any more of those either. But this one is a good one. I just feel like there's other ones, like from Milani, NYX, and e.l.f. that are just better than this one. The NARS Light Reflecting Makeup Setting Mist. Again, it's another one that's going to give a little bit of glow to the skin, kind of mesh everything together, lock your makeup in place. It looks beautiful. I really do enjoy it. I wouldn't repurchase it, but I will use it while I have it. And the same for the LYS. I finally got my sprayer working on this one. It was clogged and then it clogged again, so I will use it. Maybe eventually I can transfer it into another bottle. Maybe I'll put it in this one and put a label on it because I do like the setting spray and I do want to use it. And honestly, this is one I would have repurchased, but the sprayer is just so awful. It sticks and it doesn't spray, and it's not worth it at that point. It's not worth the hassle, but while I have it, I am going to use it. But what I was saying is it's a mattifying setting spray, but it has more of a natural matte to it. It's very blurring and it just kind of locks everything in place. And I do really enjoy this one as well. So I am going to keep that. But let me go ahead and get my totals for this section and let you know how we did. Alright y'all, so these are the 6 setting sprays that we are getting rid of. Technically, one of them is an empty, but it's still going out of my collection. So we started with 22, I'm getting rid of 6, which means I'm keeping 16. That is an exorbitant amount, but they're ones that I love and I will use up, and some of them I won't repurchase. So once they're gone, they will be out of my collection. But this feels really good to have gotten rid of all of this and just kind of refreshed my collection. But let me grab the bin of everything that I did declutter so you can see how much it actually is, because it really does add up. Alright y'all, so this is the little bin full of all the products I got rid of, and it's pretty deep. It is very full, and this feels so good. We may have not done massive damage in any one category in particular, but as a whole, this is a lot of things to get rid of. Some of it's expired, some of it is just not going to work for me and can be passed on, and I'm really excited to have these things out of my collection. But that is going to complete my complexion collection and declutter video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me know all of your thoughts down below if you have any, and until my next video, have a good one. Bye.